Another thing I wanted to get into was this Luka Doncic, right? Kenyon Martin. I'm sorry, Kenyon Martin was on the Gills Arena podcast, and he said something that I actually agree with on that podcast, and a lot of people don't want to say this or don't want to admit it because it's unpopular. It goes against mainstream media and what their thoughts is, and it goes against a player that the NBA is trying to market, and they're trying to market this player for a couple of different reasons. And I get into that, but I'm going to go ahead and play what Kenyon Martin said on Gears of Winter podcast. Before I hit that button and play it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button on your way in. And if you're watching from Facebook, head over to YouTube and hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Without further ado, here's Kenyon Martin.
Is Luka the best player on this team?
Is he?
Production-wise. I didn't ask you that. Enough said. But in the MVP, he's the fourth best player in the NBA compared to the bullshit list from the other day. He in the MVP conversation, and in my opinion, I don't think he's the best player on this basketball team. But that's for another. Never mind. Move on. Just sip my tea. This is.
Okay, we got. So who's the best player on the Mavs if Luka's not?
Hey, I mean, I know one. I put it like this. You know, when people be talking about one-on-one, I know if you ask Dinwiddie who's the best one-on-one player there, I guarantee it won't be who they think it is. Won't be Luka.
You know what I'm saying? Guarantee you line them up, let them play ones.
Oh, he couldn't beat Dinwiddie. Say, oh, he got mopped every time.
Yeah, every time, dog. And you line him up against Kyrie, it'll be listen. He might don't touch the ball. If you give Kyrie the ball first, Luka won't touch the ball.
11-0?
Hey.
Luka can't guard this goddamn camera stand.
Hey, no, but that's when they say where y'all ring Dinwiddie,
yeah.
All right,
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Him.
And that's all I'm saying.
That's the value. That's that value.
Is Luka good? Absolutely. Good for his team.
Is different.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing with real basketball people. Mm-hmm. If your numbers don't equate to something, mm-hmm. They just numbers. And I look at you, who you are and what you're doing, and I look at Kyrie like, shit. Yep. Yeah, give me 11.
Yep.
Give me number 11.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He don't wear number 11 anymore. I think he wear number 2 in Dallas. So he said a lot in there, right? And I want to get to some of the stuff he said. I want to break it down. But I actually agree with Kenyon Martin. I think Kyrie Irving is better than Luka Doncic. I'm gonna explain why, right? The way I judge a player is whole and totally, right? A complete player. The closer you are to complete, the better player you are. Basketball is bigger than the NBA, right? If you hear Luka, Jokic, Giannis talk about basketball overseas in the European leagues, they say it's harder to score over there, right? They say it's easier to score in the NBA. And there's a lot of reasons why it's easier to score in the NBA. It's funny because the NBA used to be the team or the league that was harder to score in. And when they looked at European basketball, they looked at a more free-flowing game, a more up-and-paced game, a less physical game. And David Stern, toward the end of his tenure as commissioner, and then Adam Silver, continued his legacy on, they had the idea to change the NBA game to match more of a European style because it would be more exciting for fans. It'd be more up and down pace. It'd be more points, more shots, and all of the above, which in their mind means more eyes, more views, more ratings, more money, right? I say all that to say this. They purposely changed the game to make it easier to score. And you hear the European players saying it's easier over here, which is kind of embarrassing because we were supposed to be the mecca of basketball, right? And then they coming over here saying it's easy, right? So nonetheless, it's easier to score. The NBA is not the end all be all for basketball. So the way you judge basketball and basketball players shouldn't just be through the lens of the NBA. The NBA is an entertainment business, and there's a lot of things that happen in the NBA that are manipulated for entertainment purposes. So you have to be able to see below the surface to see the pureness and the realness of basketball, right? Like I said, without the lens of the NBA. So a lot of people would take the numbers that Luka put up and automatically equate that to whoever don't put up these numbers, he's better than, which is evident in when they do the top list, the top 100 list. ESPN does it, Bleacher Report, Ringer. When the MVP preseason picks come out, Luka is always up top. The last 3 years, I think he was number one in the preseason. He never could finish that high as a finalist, but because of circumstances, right? That's for a debate for another day. But he's always regarded in the highest of highlights. Some people call him the best player in the league. I know his owner Mark Cuban says that. There's a lot of people around the NBA that say he's top 3, and like I said, ESPN just ranked him at number 4, and they ranked Kyrie Irving at like number 34, right? Which is good because the I want to say the Ringer on the Bleacher Report, was it Bleacher Report? It might have been the Ringer, had him at number 66 last year, right? So what they're basing it off of, I don't know, right? Their criteria just is as bad as the MVP criteria, right? So it's a sliding scale. It changes from player to player. It ain't something that you can apply across the board. So like I said, the way I judge a player is in total completeness, how complete as a player you are. And scoring is really a huge part of basketball because you have to score to win. You can't go out there and end the game at 0-0. Someone has to put the ball in the hole. So scoring is a goal. That's golden. You have to have that. The other goal standard is defending, because you can score 2 points, but if you're giving up 2, then at the end of the regulation it's going to be 2-2. Someone has to stop someone enough for your points to matter. So scoring and defending is the top 2 things that a player must have, right? The number 1 and 2 thing you must have, right? That's why superstars that can score are paid the most, because we know that we can use this player and build a team around him, and we can get points, because if he's unstoppable as a scorer, he can score on 95% of the league. That means that you either got a double, and now the guys who can't score as good as him now can get their shots off if they're just shooters or if they're just slashers, right? We can build an offense around him based on his scoring ability, right? So it's everyone's responsibility to be able to make a shot, but your best player has to be able to get a shot, in 99.9% of scenarios, all right? So that's on offense. On defense, it's also everyone's job to be able to stop their man. At least, can you stop your man, right? Can you guard your position? You play center, okay. Can you stop the opposing center if I leave you by yourself with him, right? That's at a minimum, right? Now, the better players can guard multiple positions. The greater players can also be of service in a help role. Like if you get beat by your man, Dwight Howard can come over and clean it up with shot blocking, and that's not even his man. Like I can be over here, you get beat, I can come over here and block that shot, right? So those are steps up on defense. The first step is, can you stop your position? If you play point guard, can you stop opposing point guards 9 times out of 10? Or can you contain them? Can we leave you by yourself? Or do we have to double because you're a liability, right? So that's the first thing. Can you do that? The next level is, can you guard another position that way? If you're a point guard like Marcus Smart, can you stop point guards? Okay, cool. Guess what? We're playing a team tomorrow who point guard is not even a scorer. So we don't even really need you to shut down a point guard. Can you shut down that 2 guard? And in the Marcus Smart case, yes, I can. So you can use them that way, right? Hey, can you shut down the small forward? Marcus Smart, that might be a little bit too much for him, depending on who the small forward is. If it's Kevin Durant, it's going to be tough for him. But I've seen Drew Holiday on Kevin Durant. I've seen Pat Beverly on Kevin Durant, right? You know, so guarding multiple positions is to step up from being able to guard your position, right? Can you guard your position? Yes. Can you guard multiple positions? Yes. Are you a good help defender? Right? Passing lanes, or are you smart? Can you come over and take a charge, or can you come over and block a shot? Those are the levels of defense, right? Can you quarterback my defense? Do you have that type of knowledge like KG? Are you sitting back there calling everything out? Or you talk like that's defense, right? So every player has a responsibility to be at the minimal. Stop your position. Can you do it? Right? So the player who can score and who can defend, and then who can translate that to team success, those players to me are the complete players. And I would never put an incomplete player over a complete player. All right, so why am I saying this? Luka Doncic checks off almost every, well, I would say he checks off every block on offense. Now, in practice, as far as how they actually run their offense, they're not using Luka in a way that I think can maximize the Mavs' potential. And the reason why that is because either and I think he checks this block off because I've seen him do it, but I have to see him do it consistently and effectively. Play off the ball, right? So the way I describe defending, the minimal thing is, can you guard your position, and then it's levels after that. On offense, it's, can you score on your man or your position? Can you score on other positions, right? And then obviously for the real good players, that's what we've been doing our whole life with the ball, scoring on people. I can get my shot off on you. I can get into my actions. I can back you down and get into a shot. Luka can do all that, but it's another level above that. Now, can you do that without the ball? And that's when you get into the Jordans and the Kobes and the Kevin Durants and the Steph Currys and the Kyrie Irvings, right? These guys don't have the ball, and that unlocks another level for your team, because if I'm the best player and I don't have the ball, then that makes another player more dangerous, right? So if you're Michael Jordan and you have the ball, then what Scottie Pippen can do for your team is lessened, because he's not a catch and shoot 3-point shooter that way. So Michael Jordan with the ball trying to get his shot, and then you come double off Scottie and you make the pass to Scottie. That's not his strength. That's not his strong part, right? Passing it to BJ Armstrong or John Paxson or Steve Kerr might work, but passing it to Pippen, that's not his strong point for him to be a catch and shoot player. But if you give Pippen the ball and put Jordan off the ball, now we're cooking with high grease. Now Scottie Pippen can maximize what he does well with the ball. And my best player, who the player is going to end with, because we want him taking, a bulk of the shots, it helps my offense flow, because Scottie Pippen can go away from Mike to someone else and get someone else involved. Mike is going to draw a lot of attention, just like Steph Curry. If Draymond has the ball and Steph Curry is running off a screen, every eye is going to be on him except for probably the guy that's guarding Draymond up top. But the other 4 eyes, they're paying attention to Steph Curry, because if he comes off this screen open, it's a very good chance he's going to hit that 3. So now the guy that's chasing him on the screen, and then the guy who's guarding the screener, has to cheat a little bit to make sure he don't get that pass clean with a clean look. So that's 2 guys at least paying attention to him, right? And that gives other opportunities for the guy that's setting the screen to slip, or that gives Clay on the other end who can get open because his guy cheated a little bit because he know he gotta try to stop this layup, from this guy slipping the screen. It's just so many different angles that happens when your best player is running around that screen or running off a screen. Right, Reggie Miller, same thing, doing running off that screen. Michael Jordan and Kobe did it. They didn't run to catch and shoot threes, but they ran around to get curl actions to hit mid-range jump shots. Right, but it opens up a lot. And Draymond Green or Tony Kukoc or Scottie Pippen are the ones who's making the decision with the ball. So it can be Michael Jordan, but if you pay too much attention to him, I might have Kerr over in the side, or I might have Clay over in the side. Right, it opens up a whole new thing. But the way the Mavs use Luka is he's got the ball most of the time. And if he don't have the ball, he's not running off no screen like Steph Curry, Reggie Miller, or Michael Jordan, or Kobe Bryant, or Kyrie Irving for that matter. He's just standing over in the corner. And now it's Kyrie Irving's turn to go one-on-one and do what he does. But it's not really involving Luka because he's just standing there. It's Jalen Brunson's turn to go one-on-one. It's Tim Hardaway's turn to go one-on-one. Horrible offense, right? But if he get involved and actually do some catching and shooting, some posting, do all that stuff, let somebody else run the point, then we might see the Mavs unlock their highest potential. So I say all that to say this. Luka Doncic is a great player. He checks the boxes on offense, especially with the ball, but off the ball, I don't know if he check all those boxes. Kyrie Irving does. He checks all the boxes on offense from the three, from the free throw line, inside the paint with layups, dribble drive, pull-ups, post, fast break, mid-range, off the ball, coming off screens, screen and roll, being a ball handler. Every way possible on offense, Kyrie checks the block. Luka doesn't. Off the ball, there's a lot to be desired, and his free throws he still haven't mastered. Right, so I think Kyrie is a more complete player on offense than Luka. And then you go to the defensive end, and the reputation of both of the guys on defense is bad. But I don't think they're both legit criticisms. I think Kyrie Irving actually plays good defense. I think Kyrie Irving's reputation, along with Steph Curry's reputation as a defender, has really come from like Steph Curry. He got exposed a lot in the series when he was going head to head with LeBron, because Ty Lue's strategy was for screen and roll with Kyrie or LeBron, and we want whoever Steph is guarding to set the screen so we can get a switch with Steph Curry, because on the floor before KD got there, you had Harrison Barnes, good defender, great defender. You had Iguodala, great defender. You had Draymond Green, great defender. You had Klay Thompson, great defender. You would have those guys on the floor with Steph Curry, right? So if the Cavs offense was predicated on high screen roll, dribble, drive, action, drive, and kick, right? Who do you want to attack? Iguodala or Draymond or Klay? It's not as easy attacking those guys. Sure, LeBron and Kyrie are great players who can get the best of that matchup, but they would get more advantage by Steph Curry having to defend. Plus, if he has to defend and he's their best player and he's their offense, what happens if he gets in foul trouble? The game is going to be in danger. So it was a double-edged sword for Golden State. So Steph Curry, a lot of times would try to get hit. They would try to hide Steph Curry from having to guard Kyrie or LeBron on those screens, and they would think of ways to get Steph Curry out of that screen and roll action, so we can get a better defender on him. But that doesn't mean Steph Curry was a bad defender. That just means he had 4 defenders on that team that was better and bigger, right? And then he was the main scoring option, and the whole offense flowed through him. So you can't lose him to foul trouble. So all of those things, the optics of it made it look bad, and he was having to defend a lot on the ball and defending two of the best players on the floor in Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. So they're having three straight three straight finals appearances with the Cavs, so that's where his reputation got bad with defending. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is so much of an offensive juggernaut. It was the same thing. They didn't want to get him in foul trouble, and the other teams kind of did, and he played on teams who had great defenders. LeBron is not a slouch for you to just go at. You would rather, if you're trying to get to the paint, you would rather go at someone else other than LeBron. They had Richard Jefferson on that team, great defender. J.R. Smith, he wasn't a slouch. He was okay. But definitely the weakest link on that Cavs team probably was Kyrie. Right. So he got picked on by the other team's best player trying to get him in screen and roll actions, and that kind of messed the conversation up around them. But when you actually look at it and follow them, Curry and Kyrie both defend well. But that's not the case for Luka. Luka doesn't defend well at all. He doesn't even defend. Right. So he's a liability there. So when you look at the fact that Kyrie is more complete offensively, and then he's actually a more capable defender, and Luka don't defend at all, I would have to say that the more complete player is Kyrie Irving. And that's why Gilbert Arenas and everybody that was on his panel when Kenyon Martin said, is Luka even the best player on his team? They paused. Why isn't that just a complete yes? Why isn't it just an easy answer? It's not an easy answer, because the answer that they're saying in their head, the obvious answer is no. Kyrie is better. But they know that once they say that, the backlash they're going to get from the entire NBA media is going to be it's going to be a lot, right? No one's going to agree with that, because everyone's going to look at, well, he averaged 32, 8, and 8 last year. And case will be closed for them with that 32, 8, and 8. Case closed, right? That's how they look at it. 32, 8, and 8. If you get that, case closed. We don't care about nothing else. 32, 8, and 8, case closed. And you just can't look at it like that when you're evaluating a player, right? You have to tell me what they do well and what they can't do. And when you're trying to compare them with another player, you evaluate them, and if one comes out on top, then the one comes out on top. Who cares about the numbers? Because we know those numbers, like I alluded to at the beginning of this, you looking at basketball through the lens of the NBA, and you can't look at basketball that way. You can't. You just can't. I don't even think Luka averaged 32 and 8 and 8 in his European league. So the fact that the NBA has a game style and the Mavs play a style that actually allows that, where you take your best player and say, hey, we're just going to give you the ball and we're going to set screens for you, and either you're going to take the shot or you're going to make the pass that leads to the shot, right? And if you're as good as Luka, how do you not average 30 and 8 assists? Like if I'm designing the offense for you to either get the point or you to either get the assist, of course you're going to average 30 and 8. But if I take Luka off the ball and make him do the other nuances around basketball, hey, you got to come off screens, you got to run, you got to keep your legs moving like Steph, right? You got to get in this mid post, this low post. You got to set some screens. You those are all the things that Coach K would require his players to do at Duke. Like, you just can't come in here and do one thing. You definitely got to defend, and you definitely going to be involved in setting screens, playing off the ball, catching and shooting, dribbling. Like, you got to do all of those things when you're playing for someone who's going to require you to be a total package. And Luka, I think, can be a total package, but we haven't seen it yet, because they're handicapping him and the Mavs. They're not handicapping his numbers. They're handicapping the Mavs. And as long as the Mavs are handicapped, then Luka is, right? It's his legacy that's at stake if they don't win something soon. They got to start winning, because right now the walls are caving in. You got rid of Kimball, you got rid of Dennis Smith Jr., you got rid of Jalen Brunson, you got rid of JaVale McGee, you got rid of Christian Woods, you got rid of Porzingis. Like, you getting rid of all these guys that we're finding out, oh man, it's not a good fit for Luka. Why are they not good fits? And what does that say about your game if you have to have the perfect fit? Because when your game is actually complete, people don't have to fit around you. Of course, they're going to build a team around your strengths and weakness, but it's more often if you fitting into a system versus me creating a system around you for you to succeed. Like, when your game is complete, you can play for a coach that wants you off the ball, or play for a coach that wants you with the ball, or you can do it interchangeably during the game based on case by case scenario. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's when you know your game is complete. I think Wembanyama's game is complete if you watch him play off the ball, with the ball, in the post, in the perimeter. Like, Greg Popovich is going to get him to play more of a complete game than what Jason Kidd and Carlisle and I don't even think it's Kidd and Carlisle, because I know Carlisle runs a sophisticated offense. I really think it's actually the owner. The owner wants Luka to be successful, because the more successful Luka is, the more successful he is going to be as far as finances, because breaking into that European market is huge for the NBA as a whole. And as long as you have that gold piece of a European player that's as good as Luka, or as good as Jokic, or as good as Giannis, it's going to benefit you, because the NBA is trying to break into that European market. So they're going to have to market the players that's going to be more of a conduit for that European market. So that means, hey, look, that means we're going to get favor from the NBA. So let me milk this for everything I can milk it for. You know, Luka, I want you to get out a number. So they kind of, but at the same time, they're trying to win, right? Which is not always a good thing to do. I'm trying to win, but I'm also trying to make sure my player gets marketed with maximum exposure, and I'm trying to cater my offense around him to make sure that he is the face of this team, and hopefully the face of the league eventually. That's the goal for the Mavs. But yeah, Kenyon Martin is right. Gilbert Arenas is right. Everybody that's on the panel is right. Kyrie is better than Luka. Kyrie is a more complete player than Luka. Luka should be better because he's 6'8". Like size matters in basketball. It gives you a huge advantage. So I should be able to score in more ways, and I should be able to get easier buckets than Kyrie Irving. But Kyrie is so daggone skilled. He's just a different dude, man. He's really just a 6'1" Kobe Bryant. He's so daggone good. So I don't know, man. I just feel like the Mavs got to wake up. I feel like the NBA fans got to wake up as well, man. Like, at some point we got to stop valuing the stats and the numbers, because you can force those stats by playing a certain style of offense. You can force those stats if you have a player that good. If you want to average close to a triple double, you can get that. We've seen Westbrook do it. We've seen Harden do it. All right, now we're seeing Luka do it. So I'm not impressed by it. I'm not fooled by it. And yes, Kyrie Irving is better than Luka Doncic. The last thing I wanted to mention about that whole thing is when we look at the numbers. Now, of course, Trae Young and Luka both got traded for each other on draft day, and their names are going to always be synonymous. But when you look at the success in the numbers, like, Luka has been to a conference finals, so has Trae Young. They both performed well in the playoffs. They both put up big points and assist numbers. Luka's 6'8" and Trae Young's 5'11", so the rebounds is going to be a big disparity. So Luka's getting 9 rebounds and Trae's getting 4, right? So Luka's getting 4 more rebounds, but the points, 27, 25. Assists 8, 9, right? Steals both 1, right? So they're neck and neck at what they do offensively. The only gap is really the defense. I mean, not the defense, but the rebounding. That's the only gap. But yet, we keep hearing Luka in the MVP discussion. We keep hearing him in this top 4 range, face of the NBA, face of the league, and all this stuff. But no love showed to Trae Young, right? And I think that's very interesting. And I won't even go no more further than that. I just wanted to point that out. I think that is wildly interesting.